Good morning, class. I hope you have done your grammar work, which was posted day before yesterday, and you have done it in your practice notebook. Whatever you were not able to understand in conjunctions, I want you to note it down, and we'll discuss the answers when the school reopens. Now, today we start with another story, that is chapter 7, A Boy's Best Friend, on page 100. Now, before we go ahead with the story, let us find out. This is a sci-fi story, science fiction, and let us know a little bit about the author. The author of this story, Isaac Asimov, born 1920 and died 1992, was a Russian-born American and a biochemist. Asimov's writing career began in 1939. How old was he? 19 years old. He was a prolific writer of science fiction, and by the end of his life had written or edited over 500 volumes. These included A History of North America, that is 4 volumes, not just 1 volume, a 2-volume guide to the Bible, encyclopedias, textbooks, a biographical dictionary, and many other books on science. His major output was in the field of science fiction. So this is what he concentrated most upon. The short story here is about robots. There are some terms in the story which you may not have come across if you have not read any science fiction before. So we'll see what are the phrases and terms that the author has used when he is writing this science fiction story. Now, this particular story is, I've already told you, it's a science fiction, and in here the author is talked about a city inhabited on moon, and in particular they have talked about Jimmy, who was born on the moon itself. His parents were earthborn, whereas Jimmy is moonborn, and they live in a city on the moon. So the story is all about Jimmy already having a robot, which is a cross between a robot and a mutt, M-U-T-T. A mutt is a dog which has parents of different breeds. So now the parents, up till now the boy has been shown to have a robot. You can see it here in the picture. The boy is there alongside him, and the parents have decided to import a live or a real dog from the earth. And let us see how Jimmy reacts when his parents tell him about this. So so many of us love to have pets. So Jimmy also was given a pet in the form of a robot. Now this robot over here is a very hi-fi dog who understands commands. He is not a real dog. It is a machine. It is made up of machines and made to behave in a certain way, as all robots are. So let us see what the story is all about. It opens as, Mr. Anderson said, "Where's Jimmy, dear?" "Out on the crater." So where is the crater? It is on the moon. Said Mrs. Anderson, "He'll be all right. Robot is with him." Did he arrive? Now see the faith Mrs. Anderson, who is Mr. and Mrs. Anderson? Jimmy's parents. So the faith that Mrs. Anderson has in robot, she knows that whether they are there, the parents are there with Jimmy or not, but his robot will keep him safe. Now, in the same breath, she asks about somebody else. Did he arrive? So this we'll get to know the later part of the story. Who is the he over here? Yes, he is at the rocket station, going through the tests. Actually, I can hardly wait to see him myself. I haven't really seen one since I left Earth 15 years ago. You can't count film. So, whatever they are talking about, they have not seen it again since the time they left Earth 15 years ago. And meaning to say, they have not seen it physically, though they have seen that particular thing on innumerable occasions on films and all. Jimmy has never seen one, said Mrs. Anderson. No? So Jimmy has never seen one at close quarters or very close. Because he is moonborn and can't visit Earth. That's why I'm bringing one here. I think it's the first one ever on the moon. So why can't Jimmy go to Earth? Because he is moon born and he will not be able to survive in the climate or the environment of Earth. Now moon, they live in an enclosed city on the moon, and it is easier for the humans to survive there. It cost enough. So whatever they have got from Jimmy from the Earth is very expensive. Maintaining robot isn't cheap either, said Mr. Anderson. So when Mrs. Anderson says that whatever they have got from Earth is very expensive, so Mr. Anderson reminds her that maintaining robot is also not cheap. You know that machines break down and they have to be repaired or kept in proper condition continuously. Jimmy was out on the crater, as his mother had said. By Earth standards, he was spindly. Spindly is he was agile and slender, tall and slender, but rather tall, spindly, slender, but rather tall for a 10-year-old. His arms and legs were long and agile. He could move gracefully. He looked easily or gracefully. He looked thicker and stubbier with his spacesuit on, but he could handle the lunar gravity as no earth-born human being could. Now, see, he was a tall and slender boy, but when he wore his spacesuit, then he looked a little bit plump. But even when inside the spacesuit, he was able to handle the lunar gravity. What is the lunar gravity? There is no gravity as such, and one is hopping rather than walking or striding straight. One is hopping from one place to the other. His father couldn't begin to keep up with him when Jimmy stretched his legs and went into kangaroo hop. So the people, the earthborns who were walking or trying to walk on the moon, they mostly they were not able to, still after so many years of being on the moon, they could not walk there properly. Whereas Jimmy, he jumped like a kangaroo. The outer side of the crater sloped southward, and the Earth, which was low in the southern sky where it always was, as seen from Lunar City. So see, there is finally the mention of the Lunar City over there, was nearly full, so that the entire crater slope was brightly lit. The slope was a gentle one, and even the weight of the spacesuit couldn't keep Jimmy from racing up it in a floating hop that made the gravity seem non-existent. So this was a kind of play for Jimmy. He used to race up in that floating hop where, people will think that there was no gravity at all. And of course there isn't. "Come on, Robert," he shouted. Robert, who could hear him by radio, squeaked and bounded after. So I have already mentioned that Robot was a robot, and he was a machine and specifically designed to hear certain commands or to react to certain commands. And bounded after, ran after. Jimmy, expert though he was, couldn't outrace Robot, who didn't need a spacesuit and had 4 legs and tendons of steel. Now children, Robot is a robot, and so he's made of springs instead of tendons. His tendons are made of steels, whereas our tendons are made of tissues. So it was far more easier, and he never had to wear a spacesuit. So he found it easier. The robot found it easier to jump from one place to the other. "Don't show off, Robot," said Jimmy, "and stay inside." Robot squeaked again, the special squeak that meant yes. So he was programmed to give out different kinds of squeaks, and Jimmy knew what each squeak meant. "I don't trust you, you faker." Faker, why? Somebody who pretends. He's telling him that the robot is pretending, and he'll again begin to be naughty, shouted Jimmy. And up he went in one last bound that carried him over the curved upper edge of the crater wall and down onto the inner slope. The earth sank below the top of the crater wall, and at once it was pitch dark around him. So now they are finally at a place where it is completely dark. A warm, friendly darkness that wiped out the difference between ground and sky except for the glitter of stars. So once when people were, or Jimmy is in that space where there is immediate darkness all around, then the only difference between the moon crater and the sky is the stars which glitter in it. Actually, Jimmy wasn't supposed to exercise along the dark side of the crater wall. The grown-ups said it was dangerous, but that was because they were never there. So maybe the grown-ups did not enjoy being there in the dark as this little boy did along with his robot. The ground was smooth and crunchy, and Jimmy knew the exact location of every one of the few rocks. So knowing the exact location proves to the reader that Jimmy often came here along with the robot. Besides, how could it be dangerous racing through the dark when Robot was right there with him, bouncing around and squeaking and glowing? So Jimmy never felt alone. He also trusted Robot with all his heart, and he knew that as long as Robot was around, he will be safe. Even without the glow, Robot could tell where he was and where Jimmy was by radar. So see, it was a highly mechanized robot. Jimmy couldn't go wrong while Robot was around, tripping him when he was too near a rock, or jumping on him to show how much he loved him, or circling around and squeaking low and scared when Jimmy hid behind a rock, when all the time Robot knew well enough where he was. So all these, see, these last particular lines, the robot has been programmed to behave like a normal dog, a real dog. And he even pretended to be sad when he couldn't, depressed when he couldn't see Jimmy, when all the time he knew where Jimmy was. Jimmy hid behind a rock when all the time Robot knew once Jimmy had lain still and pretended he was hurt, and Robot had sounded the radio alarm, and people from Lunar City got there in a hurry. So Robot had a built-in alarm where it knew what needs to be done if someone around him was in danger. Jimmy's father had let him hear about that little trick, and Jimmy never tried it again. Let him hear, meaning to say he had very harsh words or very strong words for Jimmy for playing this kind of a trick, because then the people in the Lunar City had left whatever they were doing, and they had come to rescue Jimmy, not knowing that this was just a trick that Jimmy was playing on his robot. So the rest of the story we'll try and finish it off in the second video. I think we'll be able to finish it. As of now, I want you to go, if you have not read the story, read the story again. Look out for difficult words, learn the spellings and the meanings of the difficult words. Till that time, stay safe, stay blessed. Thank you.